Sometimes in life, you find yourself on the right side of the line.
We got a trio of threes talking about a four.
Just because it's called a stereotype doesn't make it a lie. You can put that on my greatness statue, that quote right there.
Live from Texas, this is the Dryline Farmer Podcast. What has four thumbs and hates people? These guys. It's the Dryline Farmer Podcast.
Yeehaw! It's Safety Dwight, and we're here to talk about gun safety.
Landon, you did catch that, didn't you? Because Casey's laughing. The time that Dwight shot a hole in the floor?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
that's good.
Awesome. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That was a quality episode.
Matter of
What's...
fact, I just watched that one.
Really? What did I just
Yeah.
watch? I watched, it was like season 6 or something. So the reason I watched a couple more extra episodes this week is because I was in the hospital for a couple days after a heart episode. So I had time on my hands, so I watched a couple Office episodes. I watched Red Dragon, and then I watched the final round of the tournament championship on the PGA on Monday, so that was pretty exciting. But nonetheless, I had time on my hands and money on my mind. And when you got more money, you got more problems. But nonetheless, here we are. This is the Dryline Farmer Podcast. We're here to talk about PTSD not in the workplace, in the wild, wild west. Now, we're going to talk about the different things that may or may not have been true, but we're going to go with what all the famous Western movies tell us, because all that's going on in the Wild West movies is rootin' and tootin' and shootin' and a whole lot of whorehouses. But that was just the John Wayne movies of the 30s. But we'll get into that later. And we want to join with Casey. Casey's up there in Nebraska. He just had a record-breaking snowstorm. And, of course, we've got Landon Nolan down here where we've got, heavy mist. Landon, is that what you would call it?
Yeah, heavy mist.
Heavy mist.
Some good old average wind, average 35-mile-per-hour wind, and a heavy mist.
Those sound like names of losing horses in the Kentucky Derby. A heavy mist, a light wind.
Breaking wind.
Yeah, breaking wind, yeah, or glue factory. But Casey, tell us about the big blizzard you had up there in Scottsbluff, Nebraska.
There wasn't much of anything. It was supposed to get to 26 degrees, and it got to 32, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that's this time of the year. I mean, you go from 105 on Saturday to 32 on Tuesday. That's a thing, right? But the odd thing about that too is this time next week it's 98 degrees again. So yeah.
So yeah.
Hello pneumonia.
yeah.
Hello.
Fatty pneumonia is good. Huffing and wheezing as he walks through the area.
Hello, COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, COVID's the least of your worries with that big of a
It's going to spike, obviously. I mean, of course it will, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guarantee you down here, the COVID worry has, except at the hospital, they're still kind of vigilant about it at the hospital. But in public places and stock shows, even at church, it's the masks. The masks have come off. So it's
the whorehouses.
You think they ever had to wear? Are the whorehouses back in business? Do you think they're still quarantined?
I don't know.
Like more quarantined than typically.
Yeah.
If they still exist and I ever found myself in one, I would wear a mask.
Where at?
You need to wear more than a mask.
I would wear a helmet.
Again, where? Up top or down below?
You need to wear a two-headed helmet to make that work right.
Oh man, the bunny. Did y'all ever watch that guy that had the Twilight Ranch? What was it called? Was it on HBO?
Bunny Ranch?
Huh? Bunny Ranch, yeah.
Bunny Ranch? Yeah.
Boy, that was a classy dude, man.
That was a cash cow.
With a bunch of class whores. Yeah, that was man, you talk about a classy individual that gets on TV, and of course he's got the bald head, the shaved head. I don't think he lost his hair. He shaved it. So Landon, you're off the hook. But
good.
yeah. You have to shave your. I don't know if you are allowed to have hair as a. Well, what's the name of the dude that runs a whorehouse? Pimp. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess a pimp. I was thinking of some other name, but what was the?
I bet probably everything in there is shaved.
Yeah.
Oh.
High and tight, baby.
High and tight or low and neat. One of those things. Well, that's probably part of the PTSD and the STD that happened in the Wild West back in the day. But before we go any further, Landon, I ran across a tweet today that I retweeted, and it made me think of you. Apparently, a guy had a bunch of customers that were truck drivers coming in and using the bathroom for number 2. And to fix this, he took off the toilet seat, and apparently that fixed the problem. Do you find that that's a workable solution at your place of work, and are you willing to try that strategy?
I'd be willing to try anything, but I don't think it'd work. I think if you get the right guy, you're gonna get an upper decker pretty quick.
Now,
toilet seat's gonna be the least of your worries.
An upper decker. I wasn't too familiar with that. Am I gonna have to go to the Urban Dictionary to check that out? Urban Dictionary. Here we go.
I used to play on a softball team. Called the Upper Deckers.
Oh God. Let's see. I'm gonna see what they say it is.
It's a party favorite, Brent.
Make sure nobody's around. Oh, it gives you a list of how-to list. Step 1, make sure nobody's around. Step 2, quietly open the lid of the upper section of the victim's toilet. Step 3, quietly place the lid down on the floor. Step 4, then take a this is underlined as a link. Then take a nice shit in the upper section of the toilet without letting anybody hear you. Step 5, which is also a linked step. Wipe your ass. Step 6, place the soiled toilet paper in the upper section of the toilet or in a drawer or magazine. Step 7, slowly lift the lid off the floor with your fingers under it. And carefully bring it over the toilet. Step 8. Here's the hard part. With your fingers under the lid, slowly place the lid on the toilet. No false moves or you're screwed. Step 9. Leave and don't let anybody see you. Just bail as quickly as possible. And step 10. Mission accomplished. So they have a couple quotes here. It says, from the plumber. The plumber says, it looks like you have feces in your toilet's tank. Victim, it must have been an upper decker. Plumber says, yeah, right. It's already clear that you're stupid enough to shit in there. I'm so sad that that's a thing. We need to do an Urban Dictionary episode. That is for sure. I'm right. That's going to be next week.
That's a good idea. It would be cool. It would be a cool concept if that's actually where you did do your poops, because you'd have like a footrest. Everything would probably work smoother.
Yeah.
You do realize that tank is not a tank.
May not have been a part of an upper decker in my younger days.
You may or may not have.
Yeah.
You can either confirm nor deny.
Nor deny.
You see, no offense, but offense. You seem like the upper decker type.
Casey, before you tell the story, can you tell us what you may or may not have eaten before this?
So we were at a party with a buddy of mine, and I had this one friend of mine that would do anything he told him to do. It didn't matter what it was or whatever it was.
Drunk or sober?
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, our favorite thing to do was to go down to the river and go fishing and stuff like that, and build a fire and chew tobacco when we were like 6th grade.
Oh, 6th grade. Oh, okay.
6th grade, not 6 years old, but 6th grade. And this
How old were you when you killed your first man?
So a rabbi and a priest walk into a bar.
All right, continue.
So we'd send him into the grocery store, and he would come out with like 14 different kinds of chew before he found the right one. And of course, he paid for them all. Yeah. Air quote. Right.
Check out the log in my pants, dude.
So we were at a party one time. We were in college, I think. And I was in You go. So we had a party and he goes, dude, we got to go. I was like, why? He goes, I just took a crap in their toilet. I was like, well, that's fine. People do that. He goes, no. The upper decker. And I go, that's a real thing. I didn't know that was a real thing. I was like, that's really a thing? He's like, oh, yeah. We need to go right now.
It is now.
So we're walking out. I didn't know this either, but he also took a piss in the ice trays and left a whole tray of ice trays full of piss in the freezer.
Good
like,
gosh.
My goodness, man, you kind of took it home on this one. He's like, I know, this could be great. And tomorrow morning they wake up, it's going to be awesome.
Jeez.
This isn't going to work out good for anybody. And of course it wasn't. So this guy was a wanted individual for some while after that, but it sure was funny. It made me laugh. And I, of course I don't laugh very easy, but it made me chuckle on the inside and the outside. And every time I saw that girl walking across camp, I controllably start laughing because I know they didn't know what was going on until it finally, worked its way through the system and it made it.
And then 2 years,
it was totally gone like a month later.
And then 2 years later, we married.
until the next morning when their tea bag on the rocks contains some actual TT in it.
Oh shit, man.
Did he put some popsicle sticks in the ashtrays and left them popsicles? Or?
No, but he did. He made I called that the. He did the perfect amount of damage that you could do without doing any real damage. Made me laugh.
Speaking of PTSD, good God.
I wonder how long it takes urine to freeze.
Not very long. You'd be shocked. Thermodynamics come into play real quick.
Well, it's just the piss starts out at 98.6 degrees and just goes down from there.
Well, you've seen on Twitter a million times where you take the boiling hot pan of water and throw it in the sub-zero temperatures and it turns to ice before it hits the ground.
Yeah,
Same concept with urine. It's no different.
Casey, this winter in February, I want you to go fill up an empty syrup bottle after a long night of drinking milk or whatever it is you do up in Nebraska, and go toss that shit up, that piss up into the air and see how many hits you can get on YouTube.
It might turn the corner for me. I'll be a big winner by then.
I think it'll put you over the top, like on the upper decks of the podcast world.
No pun intended.
Oh no, it was intended. All right. All right, guys. Well, now that all the potty talk's out of the way, we're going to get into the Wild West here. Now, everybody's before I go any further, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. Do y'all watch Yellowstone?
Bird.
You do?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't.
My wife watches it. I guess me and Landon are the only two people in the country that don't watch Yellowstone.
I got branded. My wife branded me the other night, so it worked well.
She branded you?
Yeah.
I guess that's in the show.
She was, everybody gets branded. I don't know for sure why, but everybody gets like, you're going to get branded. So next thing you know, they're burning each other with branding iron. I don't quite understand the concept, but
I believe I'd go work at the cafe.
I would too. Like, I'll wash dishes.
Because people got branded back in the 40s, and it was not very good.
No,
didn't turn out very well.
I have seen Open Range about 130 times. So.
Now that is a good movie.
That was a good
And
one.
True Grit probably even more. So
I've said this before though, but I'm gonna say something sacrilegious and say the remake was better.
You are so wrong on
than the
that.
original.
It's not close to being right.
Jeff, well, you can say
the dude did not do better than the Duke.
No.
The dude, I don't know. Of course, I saw the remake before I saw the original, so a lot of times that makes a big difference. But no,
How the hell did you see the first one before you saw the original True Grit?
I was busy watching Back to the Future every night. Okay, get off my ass.
And Star Trek.
What kind of man are you?
And Lord of the Rings.
No, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. So eat my ass on the upper deck. So
Your Superman comic books. Okay.
But the king of all westerns is Tombstone, so we can probably all agree on that. I would hope.
Which one? The Kevin Costner one?
The Kurt Russell one.
Just kidding. Good gosh, Kevin Costner one is horrible.
Have I seen that one with Kevin Costner? I don't know.
It like came out in the same year. It's horrible. It's like the same damn movie.
Which one was it called?
It's called Wide Earth, wasn't it?
Wide Earth.
Wide
yeah.
Earth. Oh yeah.
It's bad. Like
I probably saw it.
it's like going along, and then like his wife gets sick, and it's like 3 hours of him like caring for her, and then she just dies. And you're like, well, that was fun.
Wide Earth was quite a gunslinger, but he sucked as a doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Tombstone's a good movie.
I mean, it's got the best quotes. I mean, so many different gems of writing in that movie. It's just, it's pretty hard to walk away from. But no, I read a little bit of Wyatt Earp. He was mostly he was only like he only did that deputy and sheriff or whatever you called it. I mean, that was like a very short amount of his life. Most of the time, he was a gambler and kind of not a wanderer, but
Womanizer?
Was he a womanizer?
Oh, I don't know. I thought that's what you were trying to say.
I don't think he was. I mean, I think he was married maybe a couple times, but I think Doc Holliday, he was of course, he had the TB, so he didn't.
He was a player.
Yeah, he was a dentist player. I'll be a Huckleberry. But so let's get into it here because I know Landon's got to go to bed here at some time, and we don't want to let him off the hook too easily. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. So I went in here on the internet and looked up a couple things. A lot of the articles on the Wild West said, the Wild Wild West wasn't really wild at all. If anything, it was the mild West. And this is actually on How Stuff Works website. And this came out 5 years ago. And but before we get into that, what do you think of the wild? What do you think when you hear Wild West? What are the different types of events or situations that you always come to the top of your head when you think of the Wild West?
Shootout in a saloon.
Shootouts. And this is like a 45-minute episode we're doing.
VD.
VD. We had public hangings. We had shootouts at high noon. We had whorehouses. Well, what else did we have? We had wild Indian raids.
Yeah, we had fights. We had some land to take, I guess.
Yeah, there was pillaging and plundering, and there was also, let's see, what else? There was all kinds of.
I think they put a railroad in back then.
Yeah. They forced Chinese men into small caves, and they blew up the caves to make a tunnel without the Chinese guys getting out first. They just
and the Irish, according to Blazing Saddles.
And then I remember when what was that show that Tom Cruise is in?
Far and Away.
Far and Away. That's it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Remember, because he gets. The cave blows up and he walks out of it as it's blowing up and he's fine.
Yeah, he's kind of powdery looking, isn't he?
Like, shut up.
Yeah, no.
According to Blazing Saddles, the Irish had to help with that. We don't want the Irish. All right, everybody.
that still reminds me of that great line in Austin Powers, like, there's two things I can't stand. People who have no tolerance for other people's culture, and the Dutch.
I don't know. Have either of you guys gone to South Dakota, like to Deadwood or anything like that?
No.
You guys ever been there? So where I live at in Scottsbluff, it's only like, I don't know, whatever, it's 3.5 or 4 hours.
Landon, get comfortable. This is going to take a while.
So there it was, and
6 years old with a big shoe in.
There I was trying to stay inside the lines, and I had a deal of Levi Garrett drooling out the side of my mouth.
Sitting on my ex's toilet tank.
So there's if you go downtown Deadwood, it truly is. It's still to this day kind of somewhat of a wild town, but. When Deadwood first was developed and they started, they found gold up there and all that stuff. There was, I can't remember. There's a hotel that's a bar now that this guy.
Is it in Nebraska?
No, it's in Deadwood.
Can you drive anywhere in Nebraska 4 hours and still be in the state?
Yeah, quite a ways.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, you can.
Okay,
You can make
what state is it in? Sorry.
South Dakota. God Almighty, listen.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm saying about the toilets.
So there was a deal that was in Kansas. It's a whole different deal. But that was so we took this tour like a ghost tour. You're supposed to go on this thing and you'll see ghosts, what have you, but it doesn't matter. But end of the day, he kind of laid the story out of what early Deadwood looked like, and it was a lot like they did in like the HBO version of Deadwood. Actually, was pretty realistic. He said there was a 2-block radius, and in that 2-block radius there were like something like, I can't remember how many, 21 bars and like 15 brothels in a 2-block radius of Deadwood. So, I mean, I googled PTSD and Wild Wild West, and you know, these people are painting this rosy picture. Either this guy's lying to me, or they were actually, it was actually that bad. And the stories that he was telling about people that lived in these places were, there was nothing good that came out of it. I mean, they were living these prostitutes were living this like life of entrapment, more or less. Yeah, I mean, they were living like an entrapped life, and they were you know, living in these really like horrible locations, and there might be 7 or 8 or 10 guys a day that they go through, and it's just nothing good was coming. It was just an awful existence. But
how many orphanages were in this block?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of children in Deadwood that were orphans because their moms were prostitutes and they gave them up and whatever else. And you know, it was just that's an awful town as far as like their history goes.
The absolute last name that I would give that town is Deadwood.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it here on Google Earth and just pull down the downtown. It's just like it's almost like a movie town, because like there's one main street and it's sandwiched in this valley. Anyway, it looks like a typical what you think you would see in the Old West. Okay, Casey.
But I mean, if you get a chance to go to Deadwood, it's a cool town. I mean, it's a fun tourist-y little place to go, and there's a million things to do, and you know, Mount Rushmore is 30 miles away or whatever it is, you know. So it's a neat area of the world, but it has a very, 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 very checkered past, and there's nothing good about the history of Deadwood, even to this day. I mean,
they have a craft beer fest. Nice.
Craft beer fest, and there's a lot of casinos there, and you can go gamble your life away. But it's on that Sturgis run too. So like Sturgis is just 30 miles north of there, I think. Maybe not even that far, 15 miles north, something like that. So during that June, July, August time frame, there's a million people. I mean, there might be 500,000 people between Sturgis and Deadwood. So it's a big deal.
So,
Casey, did you go to the Days of 76 Museum?
No, I didn't make that one. No.
Okay, I think that's there too. I'm just looking at their website.
Did you go to the Clerk of Court, Lawrence County?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't made to that one yet.
Okay.
Damn, it looks pretty cool.
So their residential area is about, I would say, 8 or 9 blocks of people, and that's about it. Yeah. And it's pretty. I mean, if they would have done South Park here, I bet they probably could have done a Western version of South Park and made it work. So yeah.
Hey, what are these big things in the background with the trees all over them?
That's what she said.
So
I've never seen these things.
So
it's not flat there. That's awesome. I like the mountains.
So Casey, I'm looking over here. Are these gold mines or are these like copper mines?
Yeah. No, there's gold mines there, so you can still like do the, you know, like there's a place you can go get like a pan, you know, like pans of gold.
Yeah.
And you might get like a flake or something like that, but it's nothing crazy. But you can still get some gold out of it.
Well, these are open strip mines. Like they got like several levels.
Oh yeah, I think there might. I don't know if there's any commercial mines there left or not, but
I mean,
for a while there was commercial mines there.
So this also kind of sounds like well, there's a whole lot more town over here, but a lot of these names of different little places in Deadwood sound just like Little House on the Prairie. You've got Bobtail Gulch, you've got Sawmill Gulch. Yeah. Yeah. So no, those look like some open, like from what I can remember, those look like copper mines because it's like stair-stepped in a circle all the way down into an open mine. So that's all I can figure. But maybe they did gold that way too, years and years. Because these are definitely no longer in use because they're grown over in vegetation. So yeah, it's quite the place. But and I saw about an episode of Deadwood on HBO. And I think they said the F-bomb more than they did in Wolf of Wall Street, and that's saying something.
Yeah, I think so. Again, on that tour I went on, they were talking about the first people that came up there because at the time Deadwood was when they first found gold up there, it was just an open area. There was no town, there was no nothing there. A few Indians up there, and had a settlement up there. But you got to remember that in South Dakota in the winter, it is brutal. So, I mean, they show up there they come from wherever they came from, and they've got a sleeping bag and a trailer, hooked to a horse. And I think they said like 67% or 77% or something like that. Something in 7 people that came up there to actually go through and dig gold out of the countryside didn't make it, not because they quit, but because they died.
Wow.
Because of exposure. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like Alaska is another one of those places like that. In the Klondike, it's the same deal. They all show up in the springtime and to start digging gold, and then 2.5 months later it's 14 below zero.
Yeah.
For the high, and it's 47 below zero at night, and you've got 2 pairs of socks, a t-shirt, and a blanket, and you're supposed to make that work. Yeah, same kind of deal.
So even if the gold was in bars, there's still several things I wouldn't do for a Klondike bar. Would be at the top of the list.
Yeah, but you take like so have you ever been on any of those ghost town tours in Colorado and like southern Colorado where all the copper mines are in Mexico, New Mexico and all that?
Oh, we went to was it Cave of the Winds? Somewhere around Colorado Springs. I think there might have been mines in the area, but I think this was real close to them. And you walk through like pitch black. I mean, you had to crawl through stuff and dodge stuff. It was pretty neat, but it might have been like a lead off of a gold mine. But anyway, that's probably the closest thing I've seen. Now we've been to Silverton. Now they had, I guess, silver and gold mines there, and that's over by Durango.
Yeah, I've been there on like ATVs and stuff, doing that whole tour through there. And there's the cool thing about that place is that there's the wild thing about those deals is that the amount, if you just go look at all the history of the town, that there were, for every bar there was like 3 brothels. So I mean, you had zero chance of ever making it, even if you struck gold. I mean, the idea that you're going to make any money and keep any of it, it's not going to happen,
Right.
There was a bar we went into, I think in Silverton when I was there, that had something on the wall, and it's the fact of there were 25 or 30 different, like what do you call those things? Like deeds, mine.
Oh yeah,
And what the deeds were, they were worthless mines. They ended up not producing anything, but those were all deeds that guys had lost in gambling,
poker games,
like poker games and stuff like that. That they lost their entire life savings because that was all they had to bet at the time was that mine to make it work.
There was no Dave Ramsey's on the corner doing a radio show, huh?
Really?
No, I will tell you this much, man. Guys that come into those the guys in the Old West, man, they really were out there trying to make chicken shit out of chicken salad.
Yeah,
pretty.
They found a lemon. They were going to bet it on a pair of queens. Probably is what they were going to do. So yeah, no, they weren't terribly financial. They were so fiscally irresponsible when it came to the Wild West. So
and most of those people too were like sucked into the whole like. There was a Nigerian princess that was going to save him at the end type of thing,
They had
without the internet. They didn't even have internet. It was
wow.
just some telegram they got.
They got a Nigerian telegram.
Yeah, they got a Nigerian telegram in the mail. So. hold on. Oh, looks like you're a millionaire, sir.
You're the 1 millionth telegram recipient.
Looks like you've got a shot here, friend. Good job.
You got some telespam.
Sir, the warranty on your wagon is shit. Please contact us now. It's even then they knew it was a scam.
Our records show that your warranty's out of expiration.
And the Texas Tech Alumni Association would love to have you involved in our alumni donation program. Anyway, so we're supposed to be talking about the Wild West, but nonetheless, we can talk about pretty much anything we want to. But what would you wear to a public hanging? Would you wear your Sunday clothes? Which I know back then, even when did they stop? When did men stop wearing? Basically, I think men stopped wearing suits or ties all the time. The same time people started smiling in pictures.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was they realized, like, this wool is hot in the winter. We should find something different to wear.
Yeah.
I think that's what drove the suit business out of style there for a while.
In the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 95 degrees. Let's put a wool suit on. That makes sense.
Yeah. No wonder people are always pissed off in pictures.
But at a public hanging, I would wear a turtleneck. It'd be the one time it would probably be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a bolo. Maybe a bolo tag.
I'd get my wife a choker necklace.
A turtleneck and a bolo. That would be perfect.
Can you imagine Facebook back in the day of the public hanging and the high noon shootouts?
Yeah.
Would you think people would check in, and then so say this guy like murdered this whole maybe murdered like 3 children out of this family. Do you think they would give the victim's surviving family the murderer's phone, and as soon as he hit the bottom of the rope, they would say, Lance Jacobson just checked out, or something like that?
It'd be like today. It'd be like Brett Carlson marked himself safe at the Randall County hanging.
Oh man, that is awesome. Yeah, no, I would think I'd want to wear something kind of light and cool. I guess they didn't have a hanging season. They probably hung whenever the sentence was supposed to be carried out. You figure they canceled school for a hanging?
I think it was an event. I think it was a pretty big event. They had food trucks and everything.
they had taco trucks, and they had Dippin' Dots and all kinds of stuff.
According to the movies, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
This is ice cream from the future.
Yeah. This is from the 1900s, man. This is crazy.
Like on A Million Ways to Die in the West, I go to the photo booth and it says photographs made by lightning and God himself.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised nobody in those hangings made the sign, that you see in the things like, I don't get what Fred's so hung up about,
Do you think they had protesters there with signs? Oh God. Because I watched
what if the hangman wore a shirt that said "I'm was stupid"?
Instead of the arrow going sideways, it's kind of angled downwards.
Yeah.
He'd wear in the age of Facebook. He'd wear a shirt that said #hangtime.
Oh God, that's morbid as hell. Yeah. No,
you probably wear a shirt that says like "No news is good news" or something. That's from Blazing. I think that's either Blazing. I think that's Blazing Saddles. Maybe Robin Hood Men with Tights. But either way.
God, that's funny. That is funny. So yeah, the public hanging is. I can't imagine the stress and the post-traumatic stress that some of the wives, and of course I guess back then in the day, you go to a hanging and then you'd go catch catfish over there at Old Man Johnson's pond after a wet season or something.
Hey Brant, what do you think would be the last meal of choice in the Old West?
Well, how how many choices did they have? It was pretty much beans,
Like
and
meat.
beans and
Yeah.
tough meat, or maybe some buffalo. I don't know.
Shit, beef and creek water.
Beef and crick water. They'd probably give them a piss popsicles. Probably what they'd give them.
They probably just tell them, look, anything we put in you, we're gonna have to clean up later. So.
Yeah. Oh man! So the high noon shootout. I wonder how impromptu they were. Do you think like they gave everybody did they have did they ring the bell at the church like at 11 o'clock? Say this is your 1 minute, or this is your 1 hour warning, and then people would start milling around the wooden sidewalks and come out of the saloon, and the taxidermist and the druggist and the dentist.
Yeah,
pull all your teeth with no anesthesia.
I would guess that there'd be, well, they use whiskey, same difference. And it kind of carried on, but you got to believe that there was some kind of looks like Randy and Chadwick are going to get after it. So
Chadwick.
so we're gonna have this fight, and then at 11:45, based on the shadow of the clock tower, then they would have this gunfight.
From the westerns I've seen, I don't ever remember seeing any cheering going on during a high noon shootout. Do you think they really did cheer back in after somebody got shot, or do you think there was any innocent bystanders?
Well, the man in black was always the bad guy, so I'm sure if he ever got killed, then there was a level of cheering. They could have also been on the sideline going like, "Don't be a bitch, don't be a bitch," over and over again.
It's like Marty McFly. He puts the cover to a wood burning stove there on his chest, and he beats Griff Tannen with it. No, was it Griff? No, Mad Dog Tannen. Yeah, Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Dog Tannen.
Nobody calls me Mad Dog.
I'd be pretty far away because you see how football players celebrate when they make just a regular tackle. I assume the guy that wins fighting for his life is probably celebrating pretty damn big. He's probably firing off the next 5 shots into the crowd.
Yeah. I'm betting the first chest bump originated at high noon shootouts is what I'm betting. Or maybe they didn't have an end zone because they wouldn't have an end zone dance without an end zone. So maybe they maybe like 5 guys from the saloon singing barbershop quartet came out and all put their arms around their shoulders, and they all kind of skipped off into the saloon for a shot of whiskey or something.
They could have also done something at a football game where the game sponsor, for every first down that the home team gets, they donate $10 to some whatever. Same kind of thing where they do, but for every gunshot fired, the Tim's Tavern donates $10 to the widow of the fight.
So the winner of this shootouts today will donate $10 to the local Lions Club.
That was an Aqua 1 chest wound.
Old man Uh-oh, he just got shot. Old man McClintock is now in the Case IH red zone.
Hey Brent, when do you think that these shootouts went from walking 10 paces and turn around and shooting to just standing in front of each other?
Well,
when did we get lazy?
Well, again, in Blazing Saddles, what did they do? He did 1-2 cha-cha-cha, or didn't he do that?
Yeah, it's 1-2 cha. That's right. Yeah.
Little bastard shot me in the ass.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna have to go watch that movie again. That was
This Gut Wounds brought to you by Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I bet the funeral homes did a lot of advertising there.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah.
So say both of them get shot, but they just get wounded, and then the entertainment director comes out. It's we're gonna take this quick break in the action for. From a word from our local 7-Eleven or something. Got Slurpees.
This draw is brought to you by Nebraska Lottery for all your.
You can't win if you don't play. Nebraska lottery.
Probably.
Now back to the action.
It'll ruin your life just the same.
We're gonna go watch a shooting, and then we're gonna go to the pawn shop and buy a used gun that didn't work right.
Yeah. Oh God, that's classic.
The aim is a little off on this gun.
My name's Chadwick Smith, and when I'm in a gun battle, I only use Remingtons.
Yeah, when I'm in a high noon shootout, I only shoot with the best. Colt. Oh man. Oh, that is great. That is great.
Man,
So,
bulletproof vest companies could make a ton of money in that.
they could,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know why they never. I can't believe Marty McFly was the first guy to ever think of wearing something bulletproof to go under his.
You got that
No,
off, though.
there's one in a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, you got the good, bad, and
Good,
the
bad, and
ugly.
the ugly. That's
Yeah,
true.
the dude's
Yeah.
like shooting him around the heart.
Yeah, the only way you can kill a man is by shooting him in the heart.
Yeah. What is he, a vampire?
That's where he got
or
that
something?
from. That's where he got that from. And
Now he puts like a metal.
He was watching the
plate.
good. Marty McFly was
Yeah.
watching that sometime. Yeah.
yeah.
I watched those movies. I actually watched Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and what was a couple other those weren't spaghetti westerns. No.
Clint
Good,
Eastwood
bad, and the
was big
ugly.
on spaghetti
That's a
western.
trilogy. So you had Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
$6 and $2 more.
And Hang 'Em High.
That was a different one.
That was a different.
Man, Brent, even in the Wild West, you still go to sci-fi.
What sci-fi? Oh,
Back to the
Back to the
Future.
Future. Oh yeah. Well, we already
Agree, whatever.
we went to Clint Eastwood. I'm like, that's not sci-fi. So
My favorite western is Cowboys and Aliens.
I
haven't seen
I've
that
seen
one.
parts
Yeah.
of it.
Is that Harrison Ford?
It's really not that good. Harrison Ford's in it, and the guy that played double with James Bond. What was it?
Which James Bond?
Oh,
The newer one.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel
Yeah,
Craig.
that's it.
Anybody
And
that
they came to Earth to steal gold. That's what their thing was.
you would think aliens would have been evolved past gold.
You think so too? Like I came here for uranium because I'm like got a nuclear
can't-
generator type of gimmick, but no, I need gold.
I can't imagine the Cowboys in the Wild West putting up with the whole anal probe thing.
Yeah, that's a whole thing, right?
Do you
Nope.
You guys ever watch that show? What's that show on HBO with where they do the whole Wild West thing, but it's like a android thing. Oh, what the fuck?
Android thing? An android?
Westworld.
Oh, no,
You ever
I
watch
haven't
that?
watched
Uh-uh.
That's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I haven't.
In a lot of different ways.
In a lot of is it wrong in a few ways?
Well, it's like this. The concept is that there's this world of robot android type people, and it's all based in the Wild West. And then you pay this money, and you take this vacation, and you get to set up you're either a villain or a good guy, or you're a hero, or you're whatever, And these androids kind of do their thing, and they kind of play along with you. And the scope of the whole show is that just like any android or whatever that comes along, they become smart, and they realize that they're being taken advantage of, and they whatever have some kind of artificial intelligence that no one thought about was going to happen type of thing. But it's actually a pretty good show, but it's like any other HBO show. It's very graphic and very
I like graphics.
very thought provoking. Not graphic.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty good. Back when Landon and I were kids in Hereford, we had our kind of summertime. What was the Town and Country Jubilee? The big
Jubilee.
Jubilee. Yeah. They had a freaking. I mean, back in the day, it was legit. They had this Wild West show there in the park, and they had. You remember that, don't you?
I think so, vaguely.
Yeah, it was over on the east side of the park. Anyway, they had this whole setup, like they had this saloon kind of deal. I mean, they were just fake storefronts or whatever. Then they had this hangman's. I forget what you call it, but the actual term. But and they pretend like they'd hang somebody, and then they'd pretend that somebody shoots the rope in half, and the guy would fall through the the trap door, and really
Right.
they had guns with blanks in them, all that kind of stuff. It was really neat, but I'm not really sure that's how it went down in the old Wild West. I watched one of those Mythbusters where they tried to do that, where they'd shoot a rope, like a hangman's rope with a gun, and I don't think. I mean, it was. I can't remember what kind of gun they used. I mean, I'm sure it was a rifle. I think they tried it with handguns, and of course they never got. I mean, freaking close to even hitting the rope, let alone breaking it in half. But I think they never could break the rope because there was never. They always had to put a whole lot more weight on it than what like an actual human body. It would never get enough tension in the rope to be able to break it with a bullet. So the whole thing of hitting it with a bullet is kind of hard to believe anyway. So nonetheless, that's where we're at. Well, guys, we're getting here to the end of our time. We're going to get out of here, and so next week, I'm already looking forward to next week. Whenever we get here, because we're going to start harvest, and Landon's going to have all the elevators ready and all the locations ready to take corn, and so we're going to be so busy. But no, I don't know if we'll be cutting this time next week. We might be, but we're going to have Urban Dictionary. I'm so excited that I can't even stand myself. Hopefully, I'll
Skeet.
Like from my
Buckle
balls.
bunnies and
Superman that hoe.
we're gonna learn about buckle bunnies and lot lizards. This is gonna be great.
So I read a book. This truck driver guy wrote a book. I read it. He drove one of those moving trucks like Atlas Moving or those that move people across the country. And I guess those guys make about the best money because they do the packing, everything, and I mean they make the best money of all drivers going across the country.
Who was his favorite country music artist? Alabama or Kathy Mattea?
Tanya Tucker. So, but yeah, no. Anyway, but yeah, he talked about lot lizards and the poor. I mean, it was pretty sad state of affairs for the women. But anyway, they were just prostitutes at the truck stops, and they would go around. I'm sure y'all have too. I'm sure y'all have seen the stickers on sides of trucks that says "No lot lizards, please."
Yeah.
So right next to the Jesus fish, So anyway, but we're gonna get into the urban dictionary. We're gonna get into the urban dictionary when we get back here on the Dryland Farmer Podcast. Landon, where can we find you on Twitter?
No twit Landon 44.
And Casey, what do you do, and what's your podcast, and where can we find it at?
Moving Iron Podcast is all about the economics of the farm equipment business. So if you're checking out what's going on in the latest trends in farm equipment, check me out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Also check me out at movingironllc.com for all the latest news that there is to do.
Weather and sports. So
weather and sports. Yeah.
Casey's got an episode that drops like every 12 hours, so it's really kind of hard to miss him, and he's kind of taking up more than his space on the entire internet network we've got going on here in the United States.
Tens of listeners.
Yes,
tens upon
tens. Well, maybe if you wouldn't upper deck them when you send out an ad for your podcast, you would get a few more listeners. But nonetheless, Casey, you live and learn. Well, you can find the Dryland Farmer Podcast through Twitter. That's at Trader Brent, and of course, we're all over the podcast publishing platforms of iTunes, Google Play, all those good things. Spotify, I think even Stitcher maybe, and of course, just like the Moving Iron Podcast, we're on the Global Ag Network. So guys, until next time, y'all stay cool out there. Try not to make any popsicles of any personal waste you might have. Be a human maybe. And until next time, we'll ask you, what side of the line are you on?
The Dryline Farmer Podcast, a member of the Global Ag Network. There's podcasts, and then there's this, the Dryline Farmer Podcast.